Chosen one, what if I told you they're afraid of you, not because of what you said, but because of what you never had to say? The silence you carry holds truths they can't handle. You've walked through rooms feeling their eyes on you, their energy shifting when you enter, as if your quiet presence unsettles their carefully constructed narratives. You've been told your intuition is overactive, your calm mistaken for indifference, and your insights dismissed as imagination. Today, those hidden whispers will be exposed, and you'll see how your stillness has been their greatest fear. Hidden truths are poised to surface, why your silence shatters falsehoods, how your discernment reads hidden intentions, and why the unseen power you wield marks the path to your awakening. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. They thought they could ignore your quiet strength. Soon they'll learn it cannot be silenced. The power of prophetic silence. They've tried to drown you in chatter, convinced that the measure of your worth lies in the volume of your voice. Right now, you might feel their impatience as a personal weight. Colleagues urging you to speak up in meetings, friends teasing you for your thoughtful pauses, algorithms rewarding the loudest content. Yet beneath that pressure lies a deeper truth. Your silence is not absence, but presence in its most potent form. In this very moment, your quiet breath carries more influence than 1,000 shouted opinions. You are not alone in feeling the tension between being heard and holding your peace. What you're about to discover is that every moment you choose stillness over reaction, you unlock doors to insights they cannot access through noise. Stay with me. Hidden within your silence are revelations that will not only expose their illusions but elevate you to realms beyond their understanding. They have labeled your quiet as meekness, dismissed your listening as passivity, and pressured you into filling every silence with words that echo the crowd. You've been there, heart pounding, mind racing, knowing you have something valuable to share but fearing it will be lost in the din. You remember the sting of interrupting someone and watching their eyes glaze over, the awkward pause after you spoke too soon, and the regret of letting your thoughts slip away unspoken amid the clamor. On your spiritual journey, you've wrestled with the idea that every moment of silence is a missed opportunity for connection, that your destiny demands constant self-promotion, and that your insights should always be broadcast. In those moments, a quiet inner voice reminds you that depth cannot be rushed, that understanding grows in the cradle of contemplation. Your struggle has been to reconcile the world's demand for noise with the soul's craving for stillness. This tension is not accidental but part of a divine rehearsal. In the lesser-known book of Zephaniah 1 verse 7, it is written, "Hold your peace at the presence of the Lord God, for the day of the Lord is at hand." Far from a call to cowardice, it is an invitation to prepare through quiet reflection. Your moments of silent waiting have been not lapses in courage, but stages in spiritual training, conditioning you to hear the subtle promptings of the divine rather than the roar of the crowd. When they judged your stillness, they could not see you leaning into the sacred hush where prophecy takes root. Recognize this as the pivot from timid silence to prophetic strategy, where every unuttered word becomes a seed for revelation that will sprout in due season. Already, you may notice the gentle tremors of transformation around you. Conversations that once felt like noise now carry clarity. You pick up on shifts in tone before questions fully form, sensing when someone's heart is closed or when a breakthrough is imminent. You've experienced the power of a silent gaze that prompts confession, the way an unhurried presence unravels pretenses. In your daily life, you may find that places you enter fall still as if the atmosphere itself leans in, curious to catch the next ripple of insight you might offer. Even your own thoughts settle into a rhythm of depth, allowing you to access reflections that once felt obscured. These are the visible and invisible markers of prophetic silence at work, proof that divine timing aligns with your pause, weaving opportunities and openings in ways that cannot be manufactured by noise. Behind the curtain of your quietude, unseen forces are weaving a tapestry of elevation in your honor. This was never about endurance alone, but about positioning you for revelation. In the lesser-known prophecy of Zechariah 2 verse 13, it declares, "Be silent, all flesh, before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation." Those words speak to the moment when creation holds its breath so that the voice of the divine can be heard with utmost clarity. Each moment you choose silence over reaction summons that same hush in the spiritual realm, allowing heavenly currents to realign circumstances in your favor. Synchronicities begin to arrive, a message that answers an unspoken prayer, a meeting that resolves a years-old conflict, a dream that illuminates the path ahead. Faith and stillness become the twin engines propelling these interventions, reminding you that your calling is not an accident, but a product of sacred timing. At this juncture, you might feel a subtle reluctance stirring within you, the fear that embracing prophetic silence means retreating from action, or that people will continue to mistake your depth for indecision. Many resist the call to hold their peace because the unknown territory of stillness feels riskier than the predictable chaos of noise. Yet true alignment demands more than recognizing the power of silence. It requires embodying it fully, trusting that the suspension of words will yield a harvest of insight. Imagine standing at the threshold of a still lake, its surface mirror smooth, reflecting the sky without distortion. To step onto that lake is to surrender to the still point where heaven and earth converge. This is your sacred moment, to decide whether to cling to the comfort of clamor or to step into the profound potency of your quiet power. Now that you've glimpsed the depth of your stillness, it's time to wield it with intention. Release the fear that your silence renders you invisible, and reject the urge to fill every gap with unnecessary words. Instead, anchor yourself in the practice of listening deeply to the subtle currents of conversation, to the shifting energies around you, and to the quiet promptings of your own spirit. Cultivate rituals that honor this practice. Brief moments of morning meditation to attune your heart, pauses before responding in conversation to align with truth rather than impulse, and journaling sessions that capture the insights born of silence. Each act of deliberate quiet strengthens your capacity to serve as a conduit for higher wisdom, affirming your identity as a prophetic vessel. Carry this revelation with you beyond this moment. Your silence is your sanctuary and your strategy. It is the arena where falsehoods fall, where clarity emerges, and where the voice of the divine finds its clearest channel. Let this understanding permeate every interaction, every choice to pause, and every refusal to surrender to the noise. Embrace the ripple effect of your stillness as it echoes through the lives of others, inviting them into the hush where truth resides. Comment still if you recognize your prophetic silence and if you're ready to let your unspoken words reshape your world. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Discernment versus surface behavior. They've applauded your kindness while hiding knives behind their smiles, convinced that a well-placed compliment will keep their secrets safe. Right now, you may feel the tension in the air when you step into a room, a subtle charge that tells you everything you need to know. You've been labeled overly sensitive or paranoid, told that you read too much into casual remarks. Yet beneath every polite exchange lies a hidden current of intention that they believe you cannot perceive. You are not alone in this experience. There are others who sense the unspoken motives swirling around them like invisible currents. What you're about to uncover is how your gift of discernment cuts through their polished facade, revealing truths they desperately want to keep buried. Stay with me, because the hidden dynamics at play will illuminate why your spiritual radar is their greatest threat. Your heart has raced when someone's laughter felt hollow, your chest tightened when a friend's sympathy reeked of obligation, and your mind has replayed conversations long after they ended, scanning every pause and inflection for clues. You remember the moment you offered advice, only to see that person nod politely while their eyes betrayed a different intention. You've sensed the undercurrent of jealousy when a peer praised your success as if it threatened their own. In professional settings, you've recognized the calculated phrasing of corporate flattery and felt the stress of dodging subtle traps laid beneath courteous words. In personal relationships, you've hesitated before trusting new acquaintances, guided by an instinct they cannot name. Each instance has carved into your soul the understanding that beneath surface behavior lies a world of covert motives. Those moments of revelation can be isolating, making you wonder if your gift is more curse than blessing. Yet this very perception sets you apart as someone aligned with a higher truth they cannot escape. This intuitive sensitivity is not a glitch in your psyche, but part of a divine calibration designed to prepare you for a greater mission. In the lesser-known book of Nehemiah 2 verses 12 to 15, Nehemiah walks through the ruins of Jerusalem in disguise, testing the sincerity of the people before revealing his plan to rebuild the walls. He discerns genuine concern from mere curiosity, laying groundwork in quiet observation. Your journey mirrors this. Your periods of silent scrutiny were not doubts but strategic reconnaissance, equipping you to distinguish allies from actors. When they laughed at your caution, they did not see that each moment of vigilance was forging your ability to navigate complex spiritual landscapes. Recognize this as a turning point. Your discernment was honed in the fires of uncertainty, so that when the time came, you would stand unwavering in truth. Look closely and you will see the signs that your discernment is moving from instinct to mastery. Conversations that once felt confusing now unfold predictably, as if you can read the underlying script before the actors take the stage. You might find that you pick up on shifts in energy before they manifest. An uneasy silence that precedes a confrontation. The sudden change in body language that signals a hidden agenda. Your dreams may even reflect these revelations. You wake with vivid impressions of motives you hadn't consciously grasped, only to witness them play out in real life. Opportunities appear to test your insight. A cryptic question from a colleague that, once deciphered, grants access to a crucial piece of information. These are the visible and invisible markers that your gift is evolving, guided by a deeper level of spiritual timing that aligns every experience to refine your clarity. Behind the scenes, powerful spiritual forces are aligning to support your purpose. Your struggles with trust were never about exposing you to pain, but about positioning you as a guardian of truth. In the apocryphal book of Sirach 3:21 it says, "The heart of the intelligent will discern both words and groanings, and will know what is said by silence." This passage underscores that those who walk in wisdom perceive the unspoken language of the soul. Every time you chose to pause and listen instead of react, you invited higher guidance to sharpen your perception. Now, synchronicities begin to arrive. The right book opens to a page that explains a hidden motive. The perfect mentor appears to validate your experience, and conversations shift in ways that confirm your inner readings. These interventions are not coincidences but orchestrations celebrating your alignment with divine intelligence. Your discernment is being recognized across realms, manifesting intangible support for your calling. At this crossroads, you may feel a familiar flicker of doubt, the temptation to silence your insight for the sake of harmony, the fear that speaking truth will alienate you from those you care about. Many resist their spiritual gifts because the unknown path of authenticity seems riskier than the status quo. Yet this moment demands more than acknowledgement of your gift. It calls for full embodiment of your discernment. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon, the echo of your insight bouncing back, urging you forward. You can retreat into the false safety of ignorance or lean into the wind of revelation and let it carry you across the abyss. This is the sacred juncture where true alignment requires courage, to step into your power and trust that the path of truth is protected by forces you cannot yet fully see. Now that you recognize the depth and impact of your discernment, it's time to wield it with intentionality. Release the burden of guilt that comes with seeing through deception, and reject the notion that your gift is a burden you must hide. Instead, affirm your chosen identity as a guardian of authenticity, someone whose presence dismantles falsehoods and whose words carry the weight of revealed truth. Take concrete steps to honor this calling. Journal the insights you receive, share them with trusted allies who value integrity, and integrate daily practices of stillness and prayer to maintain clarity. Each act of intentional discernment strengthens your alignment, inviting further clarity and support. Trust that as you lean into your gift, the universe will conspire to bring you precisely the revelations and relationships you need to fulfill your purpose. As this chapter closes, carry this revelation in your heart. Your ability to perceive the intentions beneath surface behavior is not a curse, but a divine gift crafted for a time such as this. Every moment you sensed the hidden motives of others was a rehearsal for the grander stage of your destiny. Embrace this power as your compass, guiding you through complexities and illuminating the path to authentic connection. Let your discernment become the standard by which you navigate life's dialogues, trusting that each insight is a step toward fulfilling the prophetic role written into your soul. Comment seen if your spiritual radar has saved you from unseen traps, and if you are ready to stand unmasked as the revealer of truth. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Energetic mirrors. Why people avoid you. They've greeted your calm smile with forced politeness, convinced that your steady presence was nothing more than neutrality. Yet every time you enter a room, you feel the subtle shift in temperature as if their hidden insecurities ripple through the air. Right now, you may be wrestling with moments when you tried to share your piece, only to notice them stiffen, avert their eyes, or change the subject mid-sentence. You might have chalked it up to coincidence or social awkwardness, but deep down you sense something else, a silent aversion to the reflection you held up. You are not alone in this experience. Many who walk in quiet confidence have felt the ripples of discomfort they provoke, simply by existing in their truth. What you're about to discover is why your energy functions like a mirror, exposing the shadows they'd rather keep hidden, and how that makes you one of the most formidable forces they can't control. You've known the sting of their sudden retreat when you spoke with sincerity, the half-hearted, "How are you?" that cuts off at the first sign of depth, the polite nod that masks their urge to flee from your gaze. You remember the moment when you offered to listen, only to see them glance toward an exit, as though your willingness to hold space for their pain was too heavy to bear. Perhaps in your spiritual community, you've sensed members shrink away when you radiate clarity that contrasts their own confusion. In professional settings, you may have noticed colleagues distance themselves once they realize your composure unmasks their own panic scrambles. These experiences weigh on your spirit, making you question whether your authenticity is too much for others to handle. Yet in those very moments of isolation lies the confirmation of your power, the confirmation that your aligned energy is doing exactly what it was designed to, reflecting the light of truth back at those who hide in darkness. This discomfort they feel is no accident but part of a divine calibration. In the apocryphal wisdom of Solomon 7:24, wisdom is described as a reflection of eternal light, a spotless mirror of the working of God, underscoring that clarity itself is an agent of revelation. Your inner clarity, born of trials overcome and long seasons of introspection, now shines through your presence, forcing others to confront aspects of themselves they've spent a lifetime avoiding. The spiritual preparation you've undergone, through silent prayers, moments of solitude, and unwavering faith, has smoothed the surface of your heart until it became a perfect mirror of divine light. When they flinch at your attention, it's because they glimpse in you the integrity they've hidden from themselves. What they perceive as intimidation is actually a call to awaken, and the more they recoil, the more evidence you have that your role as a mirror is unfolding exactly as intended. Already, you might be sensing changes that affirm this truth. Conversations that once felt strained now crackle with tension when you remain rooted in calm conviction. You notice that people who struggle to make meaningful eye contact with you now avoid it altogether, as if your unwavering gaze reflects the judgment they fear most, judgment from their own conscience. In group settings, the energy around you may crystallize, children becoming quiet, adults shifting in their seats, colleagues pausing mid-task. These are the visible and invisible markers of your mirror at work. Like a polished lens revealing details invisible to the naked eye, your presence is magnifying the hidden narratives they carry. Divine timing is at work, aligning circumstances so that their avoidance becomes undeniable proof of your impact. Behind the scenes, unseen spiritual forces are collaborating to amplify this effect for a purpose beyond simple discomfort. Your struggles did not merely test your resolve. They were the forging ground for your capacity to stand as a pure reflection of divine order. In the lesser-known text of 2 Esdras 6:54, it speaks of a light that shines before the Lord and blinds those unprepared for its glory, revealing their intentions. Similarly, divine currents now flow through you, illuminating their true motives and dismantling masks they believed unbreakable. Synchronicities arrive in the form of timely encounters, mentors appearing just as you need encouragement to hold your ground, situations unfolding that highlight their duplicity, and moments of personal clarity that reinforce your commitment to authenticity. Your faith acts as a conductor, channeling these forces into a symphony of revelation that aligns perfectly with the mission you carry. At this crossroads, you may feel the urge to soften your edges, to mute your light so that others feel more comfortable. Many resist the full embodiment of their mirror role because they fear isolation or confrontation. Yet true alignment demands more than restraint. It requires embracing the power of your reflection in its fullest expression. Imagine standing before a calm lake at dawn, the surface so still it reveals every star and cloud. To move through that water is to accept that every ripple you create will alter the reflection. This is your sacred moment. Will you shrink back to maintain superficial harmony, or will you step fully into your role, trusting that each wave of truth you send forth draws creation closer to divine clarity? Now that you recognize the depth of your mirror power, lean into it with intention. Release the fear that exposing their shadows makes you responsible for their discomfort. Instead, affirm your identity as a vessel of healing by reflection, someone whose clarity initiates transformation, even if it first stings. Take concrete steps. Practice compassionate listening while maintaining energetic boundaries. Share insights with humility and love, and honor your own need for rest when the weight of their projections becomes heavy. By balancing firmness with kindness, you model the equilibrium of divine wisdom. Each act of conscious reflection cements your role as a beacon of authenticity, guiding others toward their own awakening. As this segment draws to a close, carry this revelation in your heart. Your energy is the mirror they cannot avoid, and their avoidance is proof of your power. Every moment they drift away, they glimpse a truth they must one day embrace. Let this understanding embolden you to hold the space of clarity with unwavering faith, knowing that each ripple of reflection contributes to the healing of a world longing for genuine light. Comment mirror if you recognize your role as the reflector of truth and if you are ready to shine with divine authenticity. Spiritual calm versus perceived luck. They see your life unfolding with what they call lucky breaks, dismissing the moments of perfect timing as random chance. Right now, you may be fighting the frustration of people attributing your achievements to mere coincidence, leaving you feeling unseen for the grace you pour into every step. You've heard the whispers, "Wow, you're so fortunate," when in reality you've been cultivating an inner calm that they could never fathom. They don't realize that your steady heart in the midst of chaos is the beacon guiding opportunities straight to you. You are not alone in this experience. Many chosen ones endure the dismissal of their spiritual alignment as simple luck. Yet beneath that mislabeling lies a hidden truth. Every moment of what they call fortune is actually the manifestation of your unwavering peace and your attunement to divine timing. In the next moments, you'll discover how your calm is the secret catalyst that moves unseen mountains in your favor. Your journey has been marked by seasons where you felt tossed by storms of doubt, only to find yourself emerging at exactly the right crossroads. You remember the strain of scraping together resources, praying for a breakthrough that never seemed to come, only to have a solution appear in the most unexpected form. An old friend calling with an offer, a book arriving with the exact insight you needed, or an intuitive nudge leading you down a side street where opportunity waited. In those moments, it would have been easy to chalk the events up to random chance or the goodwill of others, and yet your soul recognized a deeper pattern. You've lived through the confusion of believing you were on the brink of failure, only to learn that the brink was the launchpad for your success. Those experiences carved into your spirit the understanding that your calm in the storm was not passivity but magnetic force. Your affinity for peace became the anchor that draws alignment, even when every external sign screamed otherwise. What you experienced as accidental alignments was in fact the fruit of a divine rehearsal. In the lesser-known verse of Ecclesiastes 9 verse 11 it declares, "I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, but time and chance happeneth to them all." This passage doesn't offer a fatalistic shrug. Instead, it points to the unseen currents of time and design steering outcomes. Your periods of quiet trust were not detours but purposeful training. teaching you to release frantic striving and lean into the rhythm of higher orchestration. Each time you pressed pause on your anxieties, your soul synced to that divine metronome. When they attributed your success to random luck, they missed the countless moments you chose calm over panic, faith over fear, and stillness over rushed decision-making. If you begin looking for the signs of this deeper orchestration, you'll start noticing a tapestry of synchronicities weaving through your life. Perhaps you find that new doors open precisely when you release the struggle to force them ajar. You might observe that conversations with strangers yield critical insights at exactly the moment you need them most, as if invisible messengers are guiding these exchanges. You may even sense a shift in the natural world, a gentle breeze calming your agitation, a flock of birds crossing your path in a pattern that speaks to you, or a sunrise painting the sky with hues that mirror the revelation dawning in your heart. These are the visible and invisible markers of divine timing at play. Like notes in a symphony, they align in perfect sequence when you remain attuned to the conductor's gentle promptings. Recognizing these signs affirms that nothing in your path is left to chance. Carry this realization forward. Your spiritual calm is the engine powering every breakthrough you experience. No longer view your fortune as random, but as the harvest of seeds sown in trust and silence. Let your life become the testament to divine timing in motion, a living example that when you align your heart with higher rhythms, the universe conspires in your favor. Embrace this truth and watch as what once seemed like luck blossoms into predictable favor. Comment flow if you recognize this divine orchestration in your journey, and if you're ready to surrender fully to the current that will carry you to your destiny. The rise of the quiet ones. They've watched you work behind the scenes, hidden in plain sight, and dismissed your quiet diligence as insignificant. Right now, you might feel the tension between your desire to shine and the fear that speaking out will shatter the balance you've so carefully maintained. You've spent years perfecting your craft in solitude, wondering if the world would ever notice the hours you poured into your gifts. You are not alone in this tension. Many who possess true power know the weight of walking softly in a hurried world. What you're experiencing is the stirring of something far greater than yourself. A rise that demands to be felt, though you move without fanfare. Hidden truths about your destiny are ready to surface, and soon the calm you carry will become the very force that commands attention. Prepare, for the silent ones are poised for their moment in the light. In the shadows of your own life, you've contended with the frustration of feeling overlooked. You remember the moments when meetings ended without your insights acknowledged, when friendships deepened around louder voices, and when projects advanced because someone else had the louder microphone. You've sat in empty rooms of your mind, replaying ideas too risky to voice and watching opportunities slip through your fingers because you hesitated to step forward. On your spiritual journey, you've wrestled with the longing to share revelations that felt too sacred for casual conversation. Those nights of self-doubt, when you wondered if your silence was a barrier to fulfillment rather than a sanctuary, weighed heavily on your heart. Yet in that same solitude, your purpose was being tempered, shaped by every unspoken prayer and every moment of patient waiting. This period of quiet preparation was never a detour but a divine strategy. In the lesser-known verse of Zechariah 4 verse 10 it declares, "Who has despised the day of small things? For these 7 rejoice to see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel." It reminds you that what begins in stillness often lays the most enduring foundations. Your time in the quiet was not a mere hiatus, but a crucible forging unshakable resolve. Like Zerubbabel's humble efforts measured by a simple line, your initial steps, though small, were charged with cosmic intention. They tested your fidelity to purpose rather than fame, ensuring that when the call to rise came, you would stand firm without being swept away by the roar of the crowd. Recognize this as your turning point. The hush before your ascent is the evidence of heaven's blueprint unfolding. Your silence is your sword, your calm your shield, and your discernment your map. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members for keeping this flame burning bright. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Remember, they fear the quiet waters, for it is beneath the surface that the strongest currents run.